Welcome back to VOR Classic with Joel, Mike, and Ed.
But it's like, we've got a lot of people who work around here who are icons, and it's
True.
easy to forget that because they're such nice people. You think of them as regular people. Like, John Knoll is an Oscar-winning, special effects
Hey,
guy.
thank him for
visual effects
Photoshop.
guy,
Plus.
and he couldn't be he's the nicest guy in the world. So the same thing with, Dennis Muren and
Ben
Lauren
Burt.
Peterson, Ben Burt, Steve Sansweet. I keep forgetting Steve Sansweet's like a rock star. And when I interview celebrities and they bring him up in like hushed tones, can't say his name directly because it's too powerful. But it's very sweet, and it's cool to work in a place where there's a lot of people that change the face of film,
Yeah, no
especially special effects and visual effects and sound design and everything. So it's definitely, you forget sometimes until you bring people over to work to check out your office, or you see them at a convention, and then you see, like when you go to C4 Comic-Con and they start getting swarmed. I think the scariest thing I witnessed, or actually pretty endearing when I think about it, was the celebration party on Saturday night. And Steve Sansweet walked through there just to, check it out, and all the different garrisons from Latin America just swarmed him with presents and wanted to get their picture taken with them, and it was very sweet. But it was also very scary because it's a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it was scary in a good way,
Yeah,
and it
it's
was
great
fun
to
for
feel all
Steve,
that
'cause
love in one place.
He's very good with fans, and he really enjoyed it. So it was fun to see that. It's always fun to go to these big conventions because you finally get to see your coworkers kind of get appreciated and excited.
Well, it's like your New Year's or Christmas,
Yeah, it's kind of like being homecoming queen finally.
I've always wanted to be.
At the geekiest prom ever, but that's the only prom I'd ever go to anyway. So.
The closest I ever get is Tuesday morning at Walmart. That's when the figures come out.
Right. Wow.
And I'm like crying down the aisle, and mascara's everywhere, but
Well, it was fun.
waving.
Well, this was one of the first times I've done a book signing because I did I wrote the You Can Draw Star Wars book, and
Yes, you did.
and our illustrators for the book, who are really the rock stars of the book, are Matt Bush and Tom Hodges, and they, we all kind of sat at a table together and signed books for people, and it was just great to see really young fans, like really young kids, starting to draw, because these could be the next wave of concept artists.
Well, I was going to ask you about that real quick, because we of course had to check out this book, when it came out, and it seems a little advanced for kids. I mean, it's like a joke. It's like a circle here and a line here, and then we render it and check it out. Vader.
Right, and 3 steps build the Death Star. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that when DK Publishing approached us to write the book, because I had been doing, if you go to starwars.com/kids, there's drawing tutorials on there already that I've been doing for a few years. But I had wrangled up all of our different artists to work on it. So it's not just Matt and Tom, who do an excellent job, but you've got, everyone from Randy Martinez, who has a very distinct style, to Kat Staggs and Cynthia Cummins and Amy Provenos and Chris Trevis, and all these really iconic illustrators that we've been working with forever, doing their own tutorials, and that's usually in 8 or 9 steps on how to do something. It's very easy for kids to follow along.
Okay.
So I was, when we kind of pitched the book to Lucas Publishing, I was like, oh, this is what we're going to do, and it'd be great to do it this way. And I think DK, because they had already started the You Can Draw series with Marvel Comics, they did one with like Spider-Man and stuff like that, I believe. They wanted it to keep it the style that they had already started with, and their style was a bit more advanced. So, I mean, there's always that demand for something for smaller children, I'm sure, if enough of you speak up, Lucas Books might be interested in doing one for just little kids, but they wanted more of something that it wasn't just for kids. I think DK really wanted to appeal to all stages of drawing and also all levels. So if you're going to art school, there's some great, chapters in there on how to do lighting, how to do shading, how to do perspective, how to do all these different things that you kind of forget about, or you just want to skip over and just draw immediately. So it's almost like more of a textbook on art in general, not just, okay, I want to learn how to draw, ACVAR. So it's a lots of different things. And there's also a section on how to make your own comic book, right down to scripting it and storyboarding. So it's a bit more advanced, that's true. And unfortunately, it's not just, little kids probably not going to be able to pick it up. And even I can't pick it up and, draw Death Star in 5 seconds. But it's one of those books where you can learn a lot from as you're learning how to draw. So I always think of it as more of a textbook resource and also kind of like a collectible, because it really is like an interesting portfolio of Matt and Tom's work. So even if you just like Matt and Tom's illustrations, that's a great reason to get the book. So
No, I could see my nephew with that.
yeah, and also, I remember when I was getting drawing books, I was getting like the Bob Ross painting book, and there's no way in hell I could ever do those trees, and it wasn't necessarily, I didn't get that book thinking I was going to end up being the next Jasper Johns or something, but I did learn a lot from it, even though I can't paint happy little trees, but,
Well,
And Matt Bush has actually done quite a few video tutorials for the book to promote it. So if you go to the DK Kids site and also StarWars.com, we have those videos up, and he did a really hilarious spoof on Bob Ross where he wore an afro, and he was trying to like emulate, the Bob Ross we all love from the 1970s public access painting, PBS painting shows. So
Yeah, it was really funny.
Yeah, and he's done a really good job with those video tutorials. We actually had a giveaway DVD that DK Publishing put together of all of his videos to that, up to that date. That was just pretty funny. But you can find them online. I know they're on YouTube as well. But yeah, it's granted, the book isn't for little kids, but that's all right. I think it works all right.
I'd still.
But again,
stare at
if
it
you guys
I was a
want
kid.
one for little kids, feel free to write Lucas' book.
All
And
right.
let them know that the only one who can write it is me.
Me.
Me. No, it's actually, I've learned a lot from writing that book. And I was a horrible drawer. Like, seriously, like my R2-D2 looked like a potato, legs, buttons. Wasn't good.
Well,
But no, I have to give a lot of
strengths.
credit to Matt and Tom, because they did an excellent job in that book, and I couldn't have done it without them. And they're also great self-promoters, so hopefully
Hey, you're not
we'll
doing a
be
bad
fine.
job yourself for them.
I'm sorry?
You're doing a good job for them as well.
Well, thank you. But if listeners are listening to your show and they want little kid tutorials, they should probably go to starwars.com/kids, because we have tutorials there that are very, very much geared towards little kids. And so there's about 8 or 9 steps as opposed to 3. So
And you guys have a lot of great activities on there. I've seen some really cool
yeah,
crafty
we
projects.
have fun games too. Yeah, in our craft section. I'm really proud of the craft section that I've been doing for a while, and there's pretty funky stuff on there, like not Boba Fett, I'm sorry, a Bosk bean art portrait that I
was
did with
hysterical.
dried beans, like lentils and split peas. And split peas actually works really well for his skin.
Good to
I think
know.
the sound effects at
It's
the
all
beginning of the
bumpy and-
webpage are awesome. I think that
Yeah, it's
super
one of those things, like, I
futuristic.
really, really love doing the crafts, probably too much. Like, if you saw me in my office, I take up I share an office with Pete Vilmer, who is also one of the writers who did the poster book with Steve, and the Star Wars Vault book that's coming out with Steve as well. I take over his area too much with crafts. Like, at any given moment, it looks like a craft store blew up or eBay blew up in our area, so.
Or you blew up your stormtroopers. I've seen those photos, Bonnie.
Oh,
I've seen pictures of gore.
Yeah. Actually, that was Frank, who is he's one of our diorama people at ILM, and he actually has a diorama set up at C4. I basically
Oh,
he gave those
Nyub Nyub.
he gave those action figures to Dave Eskra, who was another one of our event planners, and I kind of stole them off his desk and took them to my desk and took pictures. So I can't take credit for the bloody stormtroopers. That was
Okay.
I stole them.
And this is Frank, also known to internet folk as Nyub Nyub.
I think so. I'm not sure.
What's his last
I
name?
don't know his alter ego. I just know him as Frank. So
You know his last name?
let's see. Let me look it up. It's
Bonnie, I don't
behind,
believe you
think.
work at Island. I don't believe you work at Lucas.
It's Frank Diorio. So
That's right.
D''IORIO.
I can tell you right now that I'm sure you saw his work at
Yeah.
Celebration, but Nyub Nyub's universe, he will blow your mind.
No, I have seen it.
Okay,
I have
good.
seen it. I just
Yeah.
didn't know if it was the same guy, because I don't want to give false credit or
Oh,
to
go
your
for
listeners. I don't want your listeners to listen and go, well, Bonnie said.
That's true.
Bonnie, she has
And then I get like
no
6 emails from
Don't
people
trust
saying,
You're right. Our listeners
I
get
can't believe
riled.
you said that.
all 10
Right.
of them.
They'll form a posse.
The former posse. It's a
All 10
bad
of them that
name.
can find my email address, yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, Bonnie, it was really great talking to you.
Yes, and I just wanted to say that if anybody, any of your listeners want to contact us, they should just go to StarWars.com. And I don't know if we have email, but of course on the forums, I always read our forums. We have forums and blogs, and I'm the administrator for both of those. So I tend to stay busy reading fan comments in our forums quite a bit. But also, anybody who wants to email me can email me at from my email at girl.com, which is just Bonnie@girl.com. And that's
Right on.
GRRL,
That's right.
because I don't want to send people to GIRL, which is like a porn site.
Again, that would be
I
bad.
think your listeners would appreciate that, but
Would be bad. Wink,
GRRL.com is my,
Yeah, no
that's my other
porn.
site.
Surprisingly
No
little porn on
No,
Bonnie's site.
that's a little too cliche. I don't do any of that. But they will find a lot of Star Wars stuff on that blog as well. And then if they go to StarWars.com, they should check out our blog and mashups, because we redesigned the site and we're excited to see what people think and have our fans have a lot of fun on the site.
Yeah, mash it up.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, again, great talking to you. And
Yeah, thank you.
thank you. And we'll see you online.
Awesome.
And may the force be with you.
To continue this episode of VOR Classic, click the link on your screen now. Right now! If you like it, please click the thumb and share it with your friend. Now, let's continue the episode.